The laughter around me swirled like perfume, warm, familiar, suffocating. Crystal glasses clinked as my cousins toasted one another, the golden lights strung across the backyard swaying with the evening breeze. From the outside, I must have looked serene. Navy silk blouse draped effortlessly, a practiced smile curving my lips, posture poised like someone who had nothing to prove. But my phone betrayed me. It buzzed in my hand, subtle but sharp, the vibration humming against my palm. I glanced down, expecting another harmless, "Where are you sitting?" or "Save me from Uncle Frank stories." Instead, the message glared back at me like a cruel spotlight. "Missing your touch from this morning. Can't wait to feel you again. Madison." My breath snagged in my throat. Madison, my husband's assistant. The clatter of plates and the chatter of children blurred into static as my heart hammered against my ribs. I swallowed hard, the taste of champagne suddenly bitter. Across the yard, I caught sight of Daniel, my husband, laughing too loudly at something my brother had said, his arm slung casually around a chair. That same arm, just hours earlier, had brushed against mine while we got ready. Familiar, routine, safe. Or so I thought. I forced my face into composure, pressing the phone screen dark, my thumb trembling. No one else could see. Not yet. The irony wasn't lost on me. In a house full of family, I never felt more alone. But if there's one thing I learned years ago, it's that silence can be sharper than any scream. It wasn't the first time betrayal burned my chest like acid. Long before Daniel, long before polished smiles and silk blouses, I knew what it felt like to be underestimated, to be dismissed by the very people who should have lifted me higher. I was 19 the night it all came crashing down. Our kitchen smelled like burnt coffee and fried onions, my father pacing with the same heavy footsteps he used when he was angry at work. My mother sat stiffly at the table, lips pressed thin, her gaze cutting sharper than his words. "You think you're going to survive on your own?" my father scoffed, waving the acceptance letter I'd left on the counter. "Design school in New York? Olivia, that's fantasy. You'll come crawling back within a month." My cheeks flushed hot, my fingers digging crescents into my palms. "It's not fantasy. It's my chance." "A chance to waste money and embarrass us," my mother added, each syllable dripping with finality. "Stay here. Get a safe job. Find someone stable. That's the life for you." Their voices blurred, but the sting was sharp enough. For the first time, I saw it clearly. They didn't believe in me. Not my sketchbooks filled with ideas. Not the scholarships I'd fought to earn. Not me. Later that night, I packed in silence. My hands shook as I stuffed jeans and notebooks into a battered suitcase, but my heart pulsed with something new, a fragile, reckless courage. As I zipped the bag, my grandmother, Rose, appeared at the doorway. She wasn't one for many words, but she pressed something cool into my palm, a silver bracelet, worn smooth with age. Inside, hidden beneath the curve of metal, an engraving caught the dim light. "Strength is quiet, but it never breaks." She whispered, "Take it, Liv. When their voices get too loud, listen to this instead." Tears burned behind my eyes, but I swallowed them down, hugging her tight before slipping into the night. The streets were quiet, the air damp with summer rain, and every step away from that house felt both terrifying and liberating. I didn't know where the road would lead. I only knew I couldn't stay where belief in me was smaller than my fear. New York didn't greet me with open arms. It slammed me into concrete sidewalks and freezing subway platforms, spit me out in crowded rooms where no one knew my name. My suitcase barely fit into the shoebox apartment I shared with two other girls, and every night the radiator hissed louder than my own heartbeat. But freedom had a sound too, the scratch of my pencil across paper at 2 a.m., sketching patterns until my eyes blurred, the steady clack of a borrowed sewing machine as I stitched fabric scavenged from thrift shops. I worked 3 jobs at first. Waitressing in the mornings, folding sweaters at a department store in the afternoons, and answering phones at a design studio at night. It was at that studio where I met Margaret Lane. Sharp-eyed, seasoned, with a voice that carried weight even in whispers. One evening, she stopped at my desk as I scribbled in the margins of a call log. "Those yours?" she asked, nodding at my sketches. My stomach dropped. "Yes, just doodles." She studied them, then me. "Don't call your talent a doodle." From then on, Margaret became my quiet champion. She taught me how to pitch designs, how to read a contract without being fooled, how to stand a little taller, even when doubt curled inside me. The climb wasn't smooth. I heard no more times than I could count. Rejected portfolios, nights crying into pillowcases that smelled faintly of detergent and city dust. But each small win mattered. The first boutique that bought one of my scarves, the first paycheck with my name on it that didn't depend on tips, the first time I realized I could afford rent without juggling 3 jobs. I still remember standing in line at a grocery store, counting bills twice before paying, and thinking, this is mine. I did this. When my business finally began to grow, I learned to keep it quiet. My parents would ask during rare calls, "Are you managing? Do you need help?" And I'd say, "I'm fine," leaving out the details. I posted pictures of coffees and sunsets online, never the deals I closed or the small office I rented on 7th Avenue. Success, I decided, would be my secret garden. No one could trample it if they didn't know it existed. There were still sacrifices. Ramen dinners even when I had a client meeting the next morning. Chipped nail polish on the day I signed my first contract. Nights when the city lights felt more like loneliness than opportunity. But then came the moment. My designs featured in a magazine spread, my name printed in neat black font beneath the photographs. I touched the page with trembling fingers, the silver bracelet glinting on my wrist, and thought of my grandmother's words. "Strength is quiet." And mine was finally speaking. The reunion stretched late into the evening, the laughter louder now, the wine bottles emptier. Daniel moved easily through the crowd, his smile bright, his hand occasionally brushing mine in a performance so polished it almost fooled me. Almost. But the message burned in my pocket like a live wire. Madison's words were carved into my brain, each syllable taunting. "Missing your touch, this morning." I excused myself from the noise and slipped inside the house. My family thought we were visiting from out of town, just another couple driving in for the weekend. None of them knew where I really lived or how I lived. That night, I decided it was time they saw. "Olivia," my mother called, following me into the foyer. My father, my siblings, even Daniel trailed after her, their curiosity pricked. "Come with me," I said simply, my voice calm, almost too calm. The drive was silent except for the hum of tires on asphalt. My heart pounded, but I kept my face composed. Within 15 minutes, we pulled up to the building I had chosen years ago with trembling hands and a leap of faith, my loft on the upper floor of a converted warehouse, the skyline spilling across its glass walls like a painting. Inside, the space spoke for me before I even opened my mouth. High ceilings stretched above, beams of warm light spilling across polished wood. Abstract paintings I'd collected from up-and-coming artists lined the walls. A long table held bowls of fresh lilies, their scent delicate but commanding. The city glittered through floor-to-ceiling windows, reflections catching on glass sculptures I'd commissioned. And in the center, the thing I'd built brick by brick, racks of clothing, sketches pinned neatly on boards, a workstation alive with fabric swatches and open portfolios. My world. My empire. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. My father's brows knit, disbelief settling into his features. My brother muttered a low whistle. Even Daniel's practiced composure cracked, his eyes darting between me and the life he had never truly understood. "This is yours?" my sister asked, awe mixing with hesitation. I let the silence linger, savoring the weight of their stares. Then I nodded. "Every piece. Every contract. Every dollar that built this place." Daniel stepped forward, his voice low but urgent. "Olivia, why didn't you ever tell me?" I turned toward him, and for once, I didn't flinch under his gaze. Because some things are stronger when they grow in silence. I wanted to see if I could stand without leaning on anyone. And I did. Gasps rippled softly around the room. I walked to the far wall, gently touching the frame of a magazine cover. my designs gracing the front, my name in bold print beneath. You all thought I was barely managing, didn't you? That I'd come crawling back. My eyes found my father's. I never crawled. I climbed. The bracelet at my wrist caught the light, the engraved words glinting like truth itself. My mother blinked rapidly, shame flickering across her face. My father opened his mouth, then closed it, words failing. And Daniel, his expression shifted from shock to something heavier, something closer to fear. I let the weight of the reveal settle. For once, it wasn't me searching for approval in their eyes. It was them, struggling to reconcile the woman before them with the girl they had doubted. And in that silence, I finally felt seen. For a long moment, no one spoke. The only sound was the faint hum of the city outside my windows, like New York itself was holding its breath with us. I turned slowly, my gaze sweeping across each face. My family, my husband, the people who once measured me in terms of who I depended on, never who I could become. I want to make something clear. I began, my voice steady, deliberate. I don't hate any of you, but I will not let you pretend anymore that I am the girl you once dismissed. That girl is gone. I built this life, and now I set the terms. My father shifted uneasily. Olivia, No. I interrupted, calm but sharp. Not this time. You'll listen. I turned to him first. You called my dreams a fantasy. You taught me to measure safety over possibility. From this moment forward, if you want to be in my life, I need you to respect my choices, even when they don't look like yours. His jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Then my mother. You asked me to settle, to live small so I wouldn't embarrass you. If you want a relationship with me now, you must accept the woman I became, not the woman you wanted me to be. Her eyes glistened, and for once, she didn't argue. I turned to my brother. You mock me for being too soft. Here's your condition. Try softness yourself. Vulnerability. Show your kids it's okay to be gentle, not just tough. That's how you break the cycle. He shifted, uncomfortable, but his silence told me he heard me. Finally, my gaze landed on Daniel, my husband, the man whose phone buzzed with another woman's touch. My chest tightened, but I held my head high. You, I said softly, were supposed to be my partner. Instead, you made me question my worth. You want forgiveness? Then here's the condition. No more secrets. No more half-truths. And if you think you can't meet that, then walk out that door tonight and don't come back. His face paled. Olivia, please. I raised a hand. Don't answer now. Think about it. Because this isn't about convenience or appearances anymore. It's about respect. And I won't settle for anything less. The silence afterward felt different. Not heavy. Not suffocating. Cleansing. Like a storm had passed, leaving behind the first breath of clear air. I wasn't cruel. I wasn't vengeful. I was simply done being small. For years, their voices had drowned mine out. Tonight, they had no choice but to listen. The days after the reunion moved more quietly. The tension didn't vanish overnight, but something in the air had shifted. My father called me 2 mornings later. His voice was stiff at first, but softer than I remembered. I looked at your website, he admitted. I didn't realize how big it was. I should have believed in you. His words weren't perfect, but they were a start. My mother sent me a box in the mail. Inside was a stack of old sketchbooks I'd left behind years ago, their pages yellowed, but my pencil lines still bold. Tucked between them was a note. I see you now. I'm sorry I didn't before. Even my brother surprised me. One evening, he called just to say he'd told his son he loved him, not in the offhand way of old, but with intention. He said it felt strange on his tongue, but right. And Daniel, he didn't walk out that night. He tried. Tried to explain, to apologize, to erase the message from Madison with promises and tears. I listened, but I didn't bend. Respect or nothing, I reminded him. Whether we would make it or not wasn't decided yet, but for once, the choice wasn't his alone. In the middle of it all, I found myself standing in my loft late one evening, city lights flickering like stars at my feet. I slipped the silver bracelet off my wrist, running my thumb across the engraving. Strength is quiet, but it never breaks. I thought of my grandmother, of the night she pressed it into my hand when I had nothing but a suitcase and shaky courage. She believed in me when no one else did. She knew the woman I could become. And here I was. I wasn't defined by betrayal. Not by Madison's message, not by Daniel's weakness, not by my parents' doubts. I was defined by every night I stayed up sketching, every time I swallowed fear and kept going, every step that led me here. I smiled, slipping the bracelet back on. They tried to break me, I whispered into the quiet room, but I learned the difference between being touched and truly being seen.